WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.
It's Real Family Talk.
Hello. Welcome to another week of Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. I hope everybody's having a great Tuesday evening. As always, I am. I'm a little tired tonight, but that's all right, man. We're going to make it happen anyway and have a great show. Let's go ahead and welcome the family in the building tonight. We got Miss McCrae's in the building. How you doing, Miss McCrae?
What's up, everybody? I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm doing well, Miss McCrae. Doing well. No complaints. Jeremy's in the building. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm good. How y'all doing out there?
Awesome. And joining us, man, we haven't seen this gentleman all year so far, but he is back, and he'll be here every first Tuesday moving forward for sure. Jason Henry's in the building. How you doing, Jason?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Of course, there's the big thing this past weekend, of course, was the Oscars. Lupita, how you say that last name, Miss McCrae?
Nyong'o.
There you go. Thank you, Miss McCrae, because I wasn't even going to try.
Lupita.
Oh, it's the Lupita. I'm sorry. Lupita. She won Best Supporting Oscar. That's awesome. That was her first major role on that particular level, so that's awesome that she won Best Supporting Oscar in her first role. And then also, of course, 12 Years a Slave won Best Picture as well. And then they also win Adapted Screenplay too, right? Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And 3 awards at the Oscar this year. It's always good when black folks can win something at the awards. Wish you could have seen it. I couldn't see it. I went all streaming starting this weekend. So got rid of all that cable stuff. So I didn't have Channel 9 available to watch.
I can hook you up, man. Look, I've been without cable for a few years, and I hadn't missed anything. So.
All right, brother, we got to talk then, man. We got to talk, because if it wasn't on Hulu this Sunday.
You didn't catch it?
I didn't catch it, man. I didn't catch it, man. I did find a new show. I was telling Miss McCrae. She told me about this show. Orange is the New Black. Found me a new show to watch. Crazy.
Did you finish it? Are you
I
done?
have not. No, Phyllis. I can't watch that much Mr. McCrae at one time. That's just too much, Mr. McCrae. It's not quite Oz. Nonetheless, it's still too much
to just
watch.
Was it June 6th?
Yes.
June 6th it comes back?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's still too much to watch in one sitting.
Have you started House of Cards?
No, not yet,
oh,
sir.
My gosh, man.
Not yet. Not yet, but that's on my list, though. It's on my list. I got to get there, too, man. But, yeah, that's a crazy show. Orange is the New Black. But crazy. I was telling Miss McCrae, I don't know, did you watch that at all?
I did. I caught it last year.
You caught it last year?
It wasn't, I mean, it's a dope show. Don't get me wrong. It's good, but House of Cards is...
It's way better?
It's a different type of show.
It is a different type of show. You're absolutely right, but I compare everything to that now.
now?
Unfair, yeah.
I mean.
Oh, I gotta get on that then. I definitely gotta get on that.
If they had a cologne, I would wear it.
Okay. All right.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. But yeah, man. So good. Shout out to them. 12 Years a Slave, man. I'm so proud that that movie did so well. I'm actually kind of shocked too. I didn't really expect it to win Best Picture, especially with Gravity out there. Not that I've seen it, but you know, they talk about it like it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it either.
I haven't seen it either, but
I haven't seen 12 Years a Slave either, though.
You didn't see 12 Years a Slave? Now it's because of the topic, and you're like, I don't need.
No, I just had the opportunity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still going to watch it, but.
Okay, because I've met a lot of people like, I don't need to see a topic about slavery. I know what happened. Yeah, perhaps you do, but you know, it's the realism. You know that we talked about that before. It's the realism that Steve McQueen displayed on the screen that just made 12 Years a Slave stand out. And to me, it's the realest slave movie you've ever seen.
For us, and maybe this is just me playing devil's advocate, and maybe I'm injecting a little bit of my personal feelings in it, but why for an awards show, like the Oscars is supposed to be tops, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing over the Oscars, not an NAACP Image Award, BET Award, whatever. But for that type of award show, why is it that we're always rewarded for movies of this nature?
Yeah.
That's interesting you say that, because that's so true too. Go ahead, Ms. Perry.
Absolutely. That's the next frontier. That's what we're hoping for.
That would be my hope,
That
because
we could be a cast member in a film like, let's say, American Hustle, that they were loving, which I thought was just but Amy Adams was nominated. That's the goal next. We want to be able to be recognized in a film that you really can just plug in any actor into that role, and it can be
it's just like you put out a slave movie and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, is it guilt? Is it, what is it?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
the guilt.
seriously.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
You think it's the guilt?
Yeah.
Yes, it makes them.
I mean, no diss to
I want to say look.
Lupita.
I want
Right.
to
Yeah.
say look in the mirror, but it makes them confront reality. It's like it's right in their face. Like, oh my God.
We did do that in this country.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what if they had a movie about the Moors and about how,
No.
you know, Africans conquered Spain?
No.
I mean, you know, yeah.
Not
I mean,
gonna
but that's, I
Those
mean,
aren't being made. They're trying to.
yeah.
There was an article last year that they're trying to make those type of films, but they're being it's hard
Yeah, it's
time
not them-
financing.
Not getting greenlit.
Yeah.
You can't greenlit a movie that doesn't show some kind of struggle, especially when it comes to black folks.
Yeah, the
That's-
help, training day.
But here's the sad part to me, though. You know, the people who can at least put money behind those types of films don't. That's the thing that always bothered me. Because, you know, you look at a person like, he's the guy right now, Tyler Perry. You know, Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry, in my opinion, you know, and for all intents and purposes, I think he can greenlight anything he wants to greenlight. You know, now he may not get New Line to buy into it,
Yeah.
but he
Okay,
can
that's-
put
yeah.
up. He can put up, and I believe he can get enough funds together to get, you know, that production going. You know, and then
I can agree with
once you get the production going, who knows what'll happen, right? Because if it turns out to be a good film, they'll come. You know,
Absolutely.
You may not get the deal you wanted, but they'll come if it turns out to be a good film.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you know, our people who can do that, they don't do that because at the end of the day, that's not where you typically see the big money made. You know, Tyler Perry's thing, if you will, is the I won't call it coonery today. But you know, that's his thing. You know, big, flashy, over the top characters. Typically, he does have a little bit of a. Maybe we'll see. I haven't seen the movie, but I know he's got a new one coming out. Single Moms Club, I think it's called.
Which looks actually good.
It does.
Which,
Neil
which
Long
looks
and
like
her
a
son is in that
departure
one.
from his
Yeah.
typical type of movie. But generally speaking, he doesn't go there. He doesn't take a whole lot of risk in the types of films that he creates, which to me, I mean, what is filmmaking without doing risk? You know, that's the thing you like about Spike Lee. Spike Lee will take that risk.
I think if you compare those two, though, Spike Lee took the risk, and not saying he's broke because he's not. Tyler Perry didn't, and he has his own studio. Spike Lee
Took the risk, and he's
Here's the
Right.
thing with Tyler, and I follow him a little bit, and I've been trying to pay attention. I think he has a strategy. He's like, let me build this wealth. Let me get this. Let me get my audience. Let me build it up, get my studio. And then I feel like he will eventually, my hope is that he can pour into, he might have like a Medea here and then bust out something that's meaningful and poignant
Yeah.
and
so.
rich.
like I thought. Did anybody see Peoples with Kerry Washington?
Yes.
I thought that was actually an okay movie. It reminded me of Meet the Parents, but it wasn't.
Right.
You know, it
It
wasn't the
was-
typical.
I love
And he
that
didn't
movie.
write that, though.
Yeah.
He's giving other writers and directors a chance. That was under his production company.
Right,
So
exactly.
that was a brand new writer giving her a shot to get out there. So
Right.
he has, like you said, he has the power. And I believe he knows. He just has to, you got to build it up.
I look at it like this. I don't know what his worth is off the top of my head, but from what they say, that's
ridiculous.
that's you know, $100 million studio kind of setup that he has out there in Atlanta. So you're saying $100 million studio setup is not enough, so he's waiting till he get $1 billion studio setup. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean honestly,
Yeah.
seriously, it doesn't. You know,
But you know,
if you want to do something, I
like
think
the
you-
second
you
part of
do
that
it.
is, why is it that when, for example, a year goes by and, you know, no African Americans are recognized at the Oscars, and everybody says, well, why are you surprised? Then another year comes and you have Lupita, is that her name?
Lupita.
She wins for Best Actress, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, you know, it's the walls are tumbling down." So
Right.
why do we still hold award
you
shows
go.
of this nature
There you go.
that high? When
That's the question.
if we win, it's dope, but if we don't, then it's, well, why are you surprised? Why are we still trying to break into? I mean, you can't have it both ways. Like, you can't get angry,
Right.
you know, when we don't, and be happy when it happens and crying tears of joy. I mean, if you have the NAACP Image Awards and you have the BET Awards and the Soul Train Awards and all these other award shows, why are we still looking to break down a barrier when the barrier was set up because they didn't want you there in the first place?
See, and that's my thing.
I think because we're looking for that progress.
Is it progress or is it acceptance, though?
I think it's progress.
I think it's both.
How many award shows do we have? You got NAACP, you got Soul Train, you got BET, 3, 4.
Infinite.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, honestly, if I was in that position, I would never go to the Oscars, ever. I don't care if they nominated me. I just wouldn't go.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's just like you said, what are we just trying to be accepted? Because if we don't get 1 year, it's like, well.
I mean, I guess it's just my curiosity. Is it? I mean, which one is it?
To me, I wouldn't go. And to me, and the one reason I really don't like the Oscars because they up there acting like they get Nobel prizes. I mean, seriously, they be like, "This is the Oscars."
Yeah.
It's like you make movies. The movies are good.
Yeah.
They're very entertaining, but at the end of the day, they're entertainment.
You're not cultivating world peace.
To me, it's no more than the NBA. It's no more than the NFL. It's all entertainment.
Yeah,
correct.
That's true.
I mean, you can put on a $1 million jewelry and everything, but at the end of the day, it's still entertainment. And nobody's saving nobody's life.
Absolutely.
Now you do put across good stories. I'm not slighting talent and what they do, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just entertainment.
It's only entertainment. That's what Jay-Z said.
All right.
I got you, brother. I do think it's.
Oh no, I saw your mind ticking.
I
mean, yeah.
She's a movie buff.
I'm a movie buff.
Yeah, she's a movie buff. I know that. But like I said, but for me, I'm not necessarily a movie buff. I do love movies. Just now in my life, movies just not a priority for me.
Right.
But But to me, even when I was younger, I was just looking at this thing, and when you're young, I'm thinking like, why we care about all these white folks? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. He'll tell you that. It's like, and it's like. It's just,
I mean, it's
it's
if
art.
you see a movie like Menace Society, I'm thinking this deserves an Oscar. Because it was just such a great movie
powerful.
to me. It was powerful.
And it was. And to me, and one thing I would never forget about Minister Society, that was one quote-unquote black movie that I saw. Siskel and Ebert both gave a thumbs up, and they both ran it how good that movie was.
Malcolm X.
I never forget that. Because that's one you would think, no, all that killing and violence in there. And they both talked about
so
how
much
good the
truth
movie
in that
was.
movie, though.
Yeah, I think too. I think it would be progress to be accepted at the Oscars, and I think that's, as an actor, I think that's what they want. It's sort of, as an actor, your ultimate goal is to be recognized by your peers, and so the Oscars is the ultimate recognition by your peers. And so if you're in that world, you're looking to have that validation because the BET is nice, the NAACP is nice, blah blah blah, all that's nice, but that's done by people who look at entertainment. The Oscars is done by people who are entertainment, and I think that's ultimately why actors want to have that Oscar. That's ultimately why they want to walk across that stage, because just like the Screen Actors Guild and some of those other awards, the Golden Globes, those are all awards by people who know entertainment. That's what they live, they breathe 100% of the day. And so to be recognized by those individuals is the ultimate respect. And, it is like the Nobel Peace Prize,
for that field,
It's the
for
Super
that
Bowl
particular field.
of that industry.
Plus, it gets you a nice check.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
your stock
Hopefully.
can go up.
Didn't work for Cuba, but usually.
The movies he made, though.
But look, and funny, somebody just, actually your wife, she reminded me of something when we go back to Tyler. Also, he's partnering with Lionsgate right now. That's what's gotten his train rolling. He needed to make enough money and build enough capital of his own, per se, so that one day he can separate from Lionsgate. Because I'm positive in that contract, they're like, okay, Tyler, we're going to work with you, but you might need to stick to the formula that we work with that's been giving us these millions. So once he makes enough, which is what the plan is if you read some articles, he can let Lionsgate go, and it's all going to be Tyler Perry Studios. So that's when we can hold him to the fire.
You know who said that one time?
Who?
P. Diddy.
Okay, well, we're talking about two different people.
Well, but let me say that, and I'm going to say this, if they let him. Because at the end of the day, it has to be distributed.
Right,
and
but if he...
And unless you control them channels, you got to get with the head of those movie the heads of those movie theaters to say, take my movie.
Yeah.
And and it's always that collusion there.
Oh yeah,
You
they
know,
all
when you-
work
when you-
together.
yeah, I
but
think-
he's working with Oprah, and so he's watching her, and they're creating their own, pun intended,
Hopefully.
own.
Yeah.
So
Well, he has a new talk show now, doesn't
Yeah,
he? He has a
yeah.
new talk show.
Does he?
yeah,
Yeah.
he's trying to.
It's but you know what?
I believe in him. I'm trying to see what he's gonna do.
I think that's it.
with
You just
this.
have to have trust
Yeah.
and believe that this is what he's actually going to do.
We'll find out.
And maybe 5 years down the
So
road,
cynical.
he's gonna take the money and run. Or
I can't.
I am. I'm still disappointed with Oprah too. So I mean,
What do you?
both of them
Why are you
lovely.
mad at Oprah? Why?
Again,
Jimmy.
same situation. Oprah already got her $1 billion. Where's her $100 million studio?
Maybe that's
She's
not.
got
She
own-
got her
own
own
network.
network.
Even OWN is living off the typical standard.
It has to begin somewhere. You making this woman, you want her to be ABC it's only been open, 2 years? It's been running for 2 years?
she said it was much harder than what she thought.
Right.
She said
It's
it
a
was much harder,
network.
and they had to change the programming in order for it to succeed. Otherwise, it would have been. What happened to OWN?
Right. I think at the
and then,
beginning of last year was the first time she started making a profit, or maybe even broke even.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
right.
this year, or 2013, she actually made a profit.
And Tyler Perry is pushing her over the top because
Right.
those TV shows. I haven't seen them, but
I
the
haven't
TV
seen
shows
them
are
either.
apparently doing really well.
Apparently.
It
Yeah.
takes time,
Apparently people like
man.
them.
Jimmy,
I still don't get it, but they do like them.
Bro, I'm with you on that, you know.
I think he's got 3 of them over there.
I
now,
tried.
believe.
I really did, y'all. I tried.
I watched
He's
the
good. It
haves
didn't work
and the
for you?
have-nots. It's not awful,
I
but
can't
it's
do it.
Especially, well, I ain't no soap opera guy, no way. So,
yeah.
you know.
It's Young
Oh,
and
it's
the
a soap
Restless.
opera?
It's Young and the
The,
Restless.
the
Have and
have
have
not.
not.
Have and
I
have
don't
not.
want to be into that.
Yeah.
And then he has. Then there's 2
Not even
comedies.
close.
as
I don't
well.
watch the other 2.
There's they took that one that was a spinoff of Why Did I Get Married?
For
is
better
over
or
there.
worse.
For better or worse.
Yeah, I don't watch that.
And then there's a new one that I think that just came out. But
Is that the one with Spawn? For better or worse?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
It was
Michael
terrible
Jordan.
when it first came out.
When it first
It-
came
I haven't seen it since. But when it first came out, it was awful. Maybe it's gotten better. Maybe the writing's gotten better.
Let's
so.
let's hope.
Fingers
that
crossed
he comes through. Just give him some
for
time.
bigger and better pictures
Yeah.
Just
in
watch.
the future.
Don't believe me. Just watch.
Bigger and better things from our talented people who produce movies out in this world. But
It's
yes,
a big deal, though. Lupita. And can I talk about her just really quick?
go ahead.
The
She's beautiful, by the way.
fandemon. Thank you.
She is.
Thank
She
you
is-
for saying
she
that.
is gorgeous.
That's
She
the
really is,
that's
yeah.
the part to me that I've
I
just
feel
been.
some type of way.
Hey,
Right?
yes, that's what I've been loving to hear. Our black men, our black women, everybody's just praising this beautiful girl, this woman. Excuse me, she's 31, but that transformed the whole thought process of what's beautiful in America. Light skin, long hair for the longest. That was it. Halle Berry is beautiful, but here we have the complete opposite. Chick has a low fade. She's beautiful chocolate, and she's still getting all this love. I love it.
She's fly. I mean, look
Yeah.
at the
Love
dress she
it.
had on. That, yeah.
She's nice.
And you know,
Love
to be
it.
honest, and maybe this is just me and I'm not like I'm old, but in my mid-30s talking. But to me, she looks better than Halle Berry. Just to me.
I'm not mad at that statement.
That's to me.
I got to break with you on that one.
I mean, that's to me.
Yeah.
Bro.
I mean,
Halle
Don't get me
hey,
wrong. She's still fine.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, to me,
Let's
to
not
me,
go
I'm
too far.
partial. To to me, I'm partial to a beautiful chocolate sister. That's me.
Amen. Say that
I
again.
just am. You know, and it's like your boy said in the movie. Like they gotta work hard. So it's like
Oh my God.
it's like so when you see her, you like, man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you really take a step back.
Yes, she's beautiful.
She
I
is.
mean,
No
She
disrespect
really
to
is.
Halle
She's
Berry,
gorgeous.
but you know, you can, especially nowadays, you can walk around the street and see Halle Berry because it's been sewed, stitched, and everything else. So,
okay.
so it's like you see it, you're like, man, who is that?
Oh man,
It is something, but she's teaching. I mean, she's teaching little girls. I remember when I was a little girl, and my friends were light skinned, and I'm not is
colorism has always
it's huge in our
always
community.
always been a
And
problem.
so, although she's a Kenyan and she's not American, so I read
doesn't
several
matter.
articles about this, and they're like, "Oh, well, we're appreciating her because she's not American. We still need a black African American to
You
get
just
this same
cannot
type of love."
please-
Some people just can't be pleased.
No, you cannot.
But it's enough for me that she's. I mean, she was on covers of magazines that a chocolate.
But you know what? I always thought, and maybe this is because I like cougars. I always thought Viola Davis was nice looking.
Yes.
I like.
I really
She
did. I
is.
really.
Yeah, she is.
I've always,
She is.
and Angela Bassett.
Angela,
and,
I was
yeah.
just gonna
Yes.
was just gonna say her too. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, all of that. All of that is just these brown girls rock. I am proud to be a brown girl. Yes. Yes. And yes. Lupita.
That's awesome, man. So hopefully we'll see her again.
Yeah,
This won't
man.
be
I
the
think you
last
will.
time.
I think we will.
I hope she doesn't go by the way of Cuba though.
Uh-oh.
Cuba.
Yeah, man. He won an Oscar and he just like disappeared.
He did that movie on the cruise ship where he was playing a gay guy.
Yeah.
and it was never the same for him.
boat trip or something like
Yeah.
that. I think it was.
Yeah.
It's a funny movie.
Yeah.
It was
Never
actually
the-
funny.
Never the same for him.
Straight to video. That's
Straight
all
to
he
video,
does.
but he killing them straight to videos though.
He did do a movie not too long ago. The Butler.
He
He
was
was
in
good
The
in The
Butler.
Butler.
He was
yeah,
very good
He
in
was
The
good in The
Butler.
Butler.
Yeah.
But that was supporting.
He
So
was trying. Ever since Jerry Maguire.
Say
it's kinda
more than
been
I do.
hilarious.
Oh man, but Jason didn't really come here to talk about movies with us. Jason came to talk to us about what's happening in the Florida legislature. Go ahead and talk to me, Jason. What's
I'm
happening?
sure your audience wants to hear more about movies than they do about.
You know what? But this is a lot more
What's happening in
important. We
Tallahassee?
are
Right.
in again. This is an election year.
We could bring it all
We
in.
need
Absolutely.
to
Tie it
we need to be
together.
aware of what's happening so that we know how to vote when it comes to November. Truly,
Yeah, I mean,
truly
you're
speaking.
absolutely right. We have a municipal election in like 35 days. District 5. What's her name? I can't even remember her name now. Daisy Lynham, former Commissioner Daisy Lynham, retired. Her son Juan Lynham is vying to take her place. He is going against Regina Hill and Cynthia Harris, so that's a race that a lot of people are paying attention to. And then after that, you have County Commission District 6. You have County Commissioner District 2. You could potentially have a race for Senate 12, depending upon if Senator Thompson receives an opponent. So you're absolutely right. There's a lot going on. It's not as busy as it was 2 years ago, but there's still a lot of important races that are going to impact communities like this one, like Pine Hills, like Winter Garden, Lockhart, Paramore, Rock Lake. So all of these, I guess you can say, minority communities, this is a time that we really need to pay attention to what's happening. But outside of that, the Florida legislature, I mean, it kicked off 60-day session. So if you're interested in, anything that happens with your local lawmakers, we send them to Tallahassee for a reason. And today is one of those reasons where Governor Scott gave his State of the State address. Last year, the theme was everything was working. He just kept saying it's working, it's working, it's working. And this year his tone has lightened a little bit because he's in an election year. And how did I forget that one? Governor. You have governor coming up in November.
Yeah,
with
we
Rick
do.
Scott.
Right.
And,
Charlie Chris.
Potentially, 9 times out of 10 is going to be Chris, but Chris is going to have a primary battle with Nan Rich before we even get to the general in November. So
Is that going to be a battle?
Yeah, I was about to
I
say,
think-
what do you think about
I think
that?
for that one, Nan is going to bruise him a lot.
Okay.
I don't think she's going to win because she just doesn't have the infrastructure or the money to beat a machine like Charlie Crist, but she's a liberal champion. I mean, on the left, she is absolutely loved. She was in Metro West a couple weeks ago, and when I say there are some people who absolutely love Nan Rich because she does not – a lot of people have respect for her because she doesn't go away from what she believes in. She stands up for what she really and truly believes in. She's not someone like Charlie Crist, who you're not sure, depending on how the political winds go, that may be the way his opinion goes. And Nan Rich isn't that way. So while I do not think she's going to beat him, I think she can bruise him enough where Rick Scott can come in and, land that haymaker and knock him out. So we'll see how that goes.
So you think
yeah.
Rick Scott might actually get a second
Oh,
term?
absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, anybody who can write a check to, I'm serious, he can just, how much do I need for this? And just write the check and then let me check my account to make sure. He doesn't have to do that to see if he has enough to cover it. He spent anywhere from $73 to $90 million
on
the last one.
Yeah.
So he's willing to spend that money and more just to make sure he retains that seat. And, the Republican Party of Florida is going to throw money behind him. You have PACs that are in play now. They are going to throw money behind him. So this isn't going to be a walk in the park for Charlie Crist. It's not going to be a walk in the park for Governor Scott either. But for Democrats and for those on the left or anybody who, wants to see the state get rid of Rick Scott, it's going to take a lot of hard work. It's always tough to beat an incumbent. His poll numbers are continuing to rise. Again, the tone that he struck today wasn't conciliatory, but it was softer. It was, I'm trying to move a little bit further to the center so that I can be reelected, and then I'm going to go all the way back right 9 times out of 10 if he is reelected.
Of course.
So, yeah.
Of course.
So he gave his state address today. Senate President Dan Gates gave an address today. Will Weatherford, House Speaker, gave an address today. So, it's one of those days that's symbolic. They all have roses on their lapels, and everybody's taking selfies and pictures because it's the first day of session. And, after today, you have 59 days to go, and that's when the real work starts. So what I did was for my little blog, I have 5 bills that you should pay attention to. And I know you and I were talking about a couple of them earlier today and before we got on air. But just to piggyback off of what we were talking about, Representative Randolph Bracey has a bill. Actually, he has 2 bills that I think we should pay attention to. The first one, it actually deals with recreational use of marijuana. Now, if you're familiar with that fight, if you're familiar with that at all, you know that it's already legal in Colorado and Washington. The D.C. City Council just approved where you can smoke marijuana in your home. You won't be criminalized for it. So obviously, it's not an epidemic that's sweeping the nation, but it could be coming soon.
It's coming, though.
9 times out of 10, Florida is going to be last to accept it.
Just asking for my friend. You think it's going
to? Here?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
I have to tell my friend that.
I think
for recreational use?
Yeah. No.
Oh, medicinal?
I think medicinal is coming.
Okay.
The poll numbers are great.
Here's the thing about medicinal. You have a constitutional amendment that we're going to see in November where you're going to ask voters, do you think that we should have medicinal marijuana? That, I think, will pass. But there are 2 additional bills in the House, one in the Senate, that talks about medicinal marijuana. One, Representative Joe Saunders has filed jointly with Senator Clemens. It's called the I can't remember the name of it, and I wrote a story about it.
It happens.
It deals with just medicinal marijuana. It gives you the opportunity to actually grow your own medicinal marijuana in your home, and it's just like any other medicinal marijuana bill you've seen maybe out in California, where you can use it if it's prescribed to you by your doctor. You can use it to treat yourself. The other one is a little bit different, and you can tell the difference in the bills if you just look at the political parties. The left, medicinal marijuana, treat yourself, whatever. The right, it's not technically a medicinal marijuana bill, but they're going to take a strain of cannabis where it's only like 0.5%. It technically doesn't get you high, but it does relieve some of the pain that you may be having. So Republicans are saying, yeah, we're sort of kind of for medicinal marijuana, but not all the way. Doesn't get you high, but it at least provides you some. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly.
Some ibuprofen.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Did your friend want that one?
Yeah, she or he is just wondering what.
But I do believe that the use of medicinal marijuana is going to be, because it's up to the voters. Right. Of course, you're going to have some groups that are going to say it's not going to be good for the state. But I think in the end, it's going to pass. Now, there's going to be a legal battle. I can guarantee you that. As soon as it says, okay, it's passed, they're going to have lawyers on the other side ready to fight it. So it could take a few years before it's implemented. I would say anywhere up to 5 years maybe before you actually see it being legalized here in the state of Florida. But again, we're always slow and last on everything. So that's not necessarily a surprise.
At least for those that are supporting that agenda, you're right. Probably both sides. Both sides are going to have deep pockets to defend that. So it should be a real interesting.
Well,
battle,
I mean, look who was the one who was pushing the constitutional amendment. It was John Morgan.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm sure he put a little bit of his own personal money in it.
Probably.
But he had I don't want to say it was a political action committee, but he had a committee that poured $2 million into this. So he says that it's because of his father. I'm going to take him at his word. I mean, he's rolling in the dough, so it's not as if, he couldn't afford the medication for his father. But when you have that much power and money behind a fight like that, usually you're going to see the money come out on top. And this isn't necessarily an issue where you're thinking, man, the people are going to get hosed if we approve this. This can actually help a lot of people. So a lot of people say it's a gateway drug. A lot of people say it's a gateway drug. A lot of people think that it doesn't need to be decriminalized. But you know what? If it's going to help someone with pain or with stress or whatever, why not approve it?
Why not, says my friend. So, which brings us to House of Cards. Like, when I'm watching that, it's so like, ooh.
Yeah.
This stuff happens.
Yes,
so this whole
absolutely.
This whole thing, I'm looking at it differently now. And I know that's fictional, the TV
Not
show. Right. It's coming from some truth.
Supposedly.
That's some real stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, again, not all of it is true, but a lot of what you see, goes on. Just look at some of the battles they have in The Office.
Yeah.
If you've seen season 2 where they were locked in their office and they were arguing.
Who
Some of
owes
those things.
A favor?
Yeah.
I scratch your back. You
scratch mine. I want you to do it first. So then when you come back to me, I'm just going to screw you.
Right.
Yeah. So, stuff like that, absolutely happens. But that's politics. That's unfortunate. It's just a part of politics. So, but we'll see what happens with the medical marijuana debate. I do not think the bill that Representative Saunders and Senator Clemens is going to pass. I don't think you're going to see that, which angered John Morgan, by the way. He was really upset about that. That's not going to pass. Maybe the strain of cannabis bill, maybe that will pass. We'll see.
That doesn't, to me, that seems like a waste of time.
Right.
That just seems like a waste of time. But you're right. In a Republican-dominated,
and that's the bill they're supporting. So
a Republican-dominated legislator,
You just keep people on the pain meds that they're on now, which Florida leads in these prescription pain pills and
look at all the pill mills.
So it's like, okay, y'all just gonna add this little thing to it.
You gotta appease big pharma for a lot of people. Keeps their pockets lined. So.
Yep.
You don't want to go too far away from that. Another bill that a lot of people will probably pay attention to is gaming and gambling. So last year, I remember you had a lot of discussion around gambling. Is it going to come to Central Florida? Is that something that we should worry about? And you had companies like Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, all these large tourist organizations that are vehemently against bringing casinos to Orange County. So why would you want that? Why would you want competition to come and take money out of your pocket? Right. But the bill that's currently in, I believe, the Senate, it's only expanding gaming in 2 counties. So it's nowhere, well, I shouldn't say nowhere near, but it's not Orange County. So it's only Broward and Miami-Dade. Those are the only 2 counties that they're talking about expanding gaming. And with this bill, this would actually create a gaming council that has about 7 different legislators, I should say, that are involved. And if you would like to open a casino, the fee is something like it's a lot of money. It's millions of dollars. That would be the fee. It's a refundable fee that you would have to pay if you would like to open a casino, and your revenue is going to be taxed at 35%. So the state stands to make a lot of money off of this. But again, it's only talking about expansion to 2 counties. So Orange County, you don't have to worry about it. The next one actually deals with pension reform in the state of Florida. So there is an unfunded liability of $22 billion in the state's pension fund. And the the House Speaker, Will Weatherford, has said that the Florida legislature is going to have to write a $500 million check to try to cover some of that so that we can try to get ahead of some of the financial issues that may burden the state's pension fund. They want to make some changes to it. And those changes include that if you're a state employee, or if you apply for a job to be a state employee and you're hired after July 1st, 2015, you will no longer be eligible to receive a pension. You will only have a cash balance option, or you'll have a 401k. A lot of private companies have already started to do that, so the state is attempting to do that as well. The caveat to that is that any new police officers and firefighters are exempt. Not teachers, just police officers and firefighters. You would be exempt to that rule, but anybody else, 401k, no more pension.
But see, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing, though, to be honest with you, because I think, you know, I'll use myself as an example. When I first became a teacher, you know, I went for the 401k option, which is actually, you know, a lot of times can be a good option for you, because the way it was structured when I was there is the pension you had to basically be a teacher. I want to say it was at least a minimum of 10 years before you were even eligible to qualify for that pension. Whereas the 401k, they put you in right away and you could start right away. And so long term, you know, moving forward, you know, I was only there about 3 years in the public system. And so, I mean, I came away out of the public system with my 401k. It was a good time. The economy was doing all right during the time. So I came away with a decent amount of money that I was able to walk away with. And so, you know, who knows where you'll come in at, but it's not necessarily a bad thing to start with a 401k. You know, it's all going to depend on where the economy's at the time, of course. But I mean, again, you have to remember, it's not for today, a 401k for 20, 30, 40 years from now.
I think the problem that a lot of people have is that, you know, with the 401k, just look at what happened with the economy. I remember when the economy tanked, I was in my office and one of my coworkers just white as a sheep. And I'm like, what happened? He was like, I just lost $20,000 out of my 401k because of what happened with the economy. It's like it tanked. And
can I ask you something? How old was he though?
He was late 40s.
Late 40s. That means he still has another 20 years. He'll get 20,000 plus.
20,000
but
plus,
it hurts at the moment. It hurts at that moment.
But he could have had 20,000 plus 20,000 if he wouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
20,000.
It's a give and take when you're in the market.
But that's the thing. It's the instability of the economy. Like someone my age, my 401k was rated when the economy tanked. The economy's probably going to tank at least 2 or 3 more times before I retire.
Right.
So who knows what's going to happen with my 401k? I think that's the instability that especially people on the left are stating that we need to give. If you're going to work for the state government, we should at least give you some type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Some type of incentive to work here where we're going to give you a pension. But it looks like those days are going to be long gone.
It's going to the wayside. Why is it any different from when you work in corporate America? Corporate America doesn't offer you pensions. You know, for the
they
most
still
part,
do for
they usually give you a 401k.
Yeah.
I mean,
now the company I work for, they still offer pensions if you're union. If you're non-union, 401k, there are no pensions for you.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
and that's basically because of what the union negotiated.
Absolutely.
So outside of the union, you know, typically most people
It's 401k.
most people get a 401k. So really, you're putting federal workers or state workers in the same boat as every other American citizen. We're all stuck out there in the 401k boat, and personally, I don't see what's the problem with that. Why because you work for the state, you're supposed to get guaranteed money, quote unquote,
for certain positions,
as opposed to me.
I think teachers should
I
be
agree.
included in that.
I agree.
Firefighters and they're already carving out an exception for firefighters and police officers. Add teachers to that.
teachers.
Yeah, because
Please.
especially teachers, because that's a big.
I think the
sacrifice.
difference though would
It's a
be
big sacrifice.
the difference though would be those people's lives are on the line on a daily basis.
Them teachers' lives.
I was about to say,
Right.
depending on what school you're in.
I was just about to say that.
Come on,
Come
man.
on, bro. I was in the
kids
school
off
system,
the-
but
I understand.
and I
You
had
can
some
tell-
run-ins, but my life was not in danger like a police officer or a firefighter.
No, I'm not
It is
equating
not the
it.
same
I'm not
thing.
equating to that, but that's not even my issue. So much as their life is on the line, but for what they do, the sacrifices they make. You know how much extra time they put in.
Yes,
To be
I
honest
do.
with you, I don't think you really know. You know,
I do.
3 years is 3 years, but let's talk about somebody who got 20, 30, 40 years, and
I
they got a
do.
passion and they do this.
I
How much
do.
of that extra? How much extra money they come out of their pocket to
And-
tutor? How much extra time they put in to make sure, you know, because some really care,
Yeah.
and they really sacrifice a lot of time, you know. And I mean, it's a ministry, a lot of them, you know, and I think that's worth a pension.
My mother was in the school system for over 30 years. And I remember when she would buy my school supplies, she would be buying stuff for her
School supplies
kids.
for her kids, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm like, Mom, why you buying all this? You already bought me a Trapper Keeper. I need this
I
for
know.
my students because somebody going to come to class and not have
Ain't
it.
got no paper, don't got no pencil.
All that
Yep.
stuff. For every year. Every time I got my school supplies, she was buying for her students.
I've yet to meet a
throughout the
teacher
year.
who is not investing some part of their
Yeah.
pension.
Right,
exactly.
I think you
into
have
their-
to because you tend to not get everything you want through the school. It's going to happen. Yeah. But nonetheless, I think especially for that teacher that just graduated school, 22, 23, 24, 25, whatever you are. I think in the long run, a pension gives you that sort of security, sort of like Social Security does. But I think in the long run, if you're educated enough about what a 401k can do and how to properly invest in it, I think in the long run that can be a vehicle that you will find serves you well.
Potentially.
But yeah. How about this? How about the state give me my stability and I can go to the bank and do my 401k? How about we do that?
Just, give them the option for both. You don't have to match it. You don't have to match the funds in the 401k. Just give them that option for both. Okay, so another one is House Bill 1181. This bill is a little interesting to me because it deals with the suspension of driver's licenses for non-traffic violations. So if anybody's ever had any issues with paying child support and you fell behind and your driver's license has been suspended because of it, this bill may actually help you, where it's removing that economic barrier. So House Majority Whip Danny Young has a bill that's actually supported by House Speaker Will Weatherford. We're talking about Republicans. We're not talking about Democrats who are submitting this, where if you have a non-traffic violation, your driver's license has been suspended for child support, I believe for a misdemeanor guilty conviction, for failure to appear, for writing a bad check. It's up to the judge's discretion, not necessarily by state law, that your license is automatically suspended. And for child support, if you are able to prove that you're having a hard time, that you can't pay it right now, that you really and truly need to make it to work, they'll make an exception for you. Whereas if you're just a deadbeat, then they're going to suspend your license. But if you're really and truly trying to make it work, then they won't do it. So I thought that was interesting because I know that would help a lot of minority men.
Yes, definitely.
In our community.
And that's a good one. I can get behind that one.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. Another one, is anybody familiar with GMOs? Genetically modified organisms?
You said it.
Yeah.
Right out of my mouth. Yeah. I was about to say that.
Yeah. So GMOs, a lot of people either think that they save lives because they feed a lot of people, or they think that they are demons sent from hell and they kill a lot of people. It's either or. It's like there's no in between. So there's not this bill. It's House Bill 1. This bill isn't geared to banning GMOs. It would only, if you go to your local Walmart or Publix and you see something on the shelf that you like, you just see a label on it that says this item contains GMO or has GMOs in it. And either you can say, okay, I don't want anything like that, or I would rather buy something different, or I'm okay with GMOs. That's the only thing this bill does. It just labels your food product to let you know if what you're about to purchase has a GMO in it.
I think that's a good idea.
I don't think that's a bad idea either, but the other side of that argument is a lot of farmers are saying that it's going to take the cost of farming up higher.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be honest with you, man. I'm still trying to do research on how that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't get why that increases the cost.
But a lot of farmers are saying it. So I'm not sure if it's seed prices or whatever it may be, but some farmers are against it because they're saying...
To put that on the label?
Well, they're saying that once you label it, I don't know, I guess there's some type of back-end backlash from it, that if you label it and people start purchasing items. Because, listen, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has said that 70% of your food has GMOs in it.
Right. That's what I was commenting.
We're already eating it.
Yeah, the vast majority of what you eat is either GMO or has GMOs in it anyway. So it's only 30% of the products that you would potentially purchase that wouldn't have a GMO in it.
To me, I don't know. To me, that seems kind of, because like you say, 70% of the products we eat are we know are GMOs. To put the label on it seems like an extra step. Seems like money spent when it doesn't have to be.
Well, I just
if
think
you're looking for non-GMO products, just go organic. You know,
well, I think,
even
but
that can be tainted
exactly.
sometimes.
I just think it's giving consumers a choice. Because I know some people who are dead set on, I do not want GMOs. GMOs are bad for you, do not want it. So I think it's just choice. I know, right? Grow your own food in the backyard. I just think it's about choice. So one of the last bills, and I say this one for last because the Dream Defenders are talking about it. Reverend Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Tom Joyner are going to be in Tallahassee next Monday to have a prayer vigil for it. It's House Bill 89, which has been dubbed the Miss Marissa Alexander bill. It's been dubbed the warning shot bill, and the Dream Defenders are calling it an unnecessary expansion of Stand Your Ground. So what this does, it allows you to fire a warning shot. So if you and I get into an argument and I feel that the situation, that it's getting tense and deadly, I can pull out my weapon, fire a warning shot, and I'm not going to be subjected to Florida's 10-20 to maximum mandatory minimum. That's how Marissa Alexander got caught up, where she took the weapon out, she fired it, said it was a warning shot, but 10-20 to life, 20 years. It's a felony conviction. She fired a weapon, even though it was legal. I mean, she owned the weapon legally based off of Florida law. So this would basically carve out a caveat for it to say that, yeah, you felt like your life was in danger. You didn't want to harm the person or kill the person. You just wanted to diffuse the tension. So you fire a warning shot, and we're not going to send you to prison for that. So the NRA is supporting this bill. And anytime the NRA supports anything, especially, it usually passes, but on the other side, it's okay. Well, maybe I shouldn't get behind this because the NRA is behind it.
Right.
So it's an interesting, because listen, some of your favorite lawmakers here locally are co-sponsors for this bill. And then you have the other side where a lot of people are supporting the Dream Defenders, and they are against it. And a lot of African Americans.
What's their issue with the Dream Defenders?
Number one, the Dream Defenders want to repeal Stand Your Ground. They don't want any changes. They just want it completely off the books. But this expands the force around it. With warning, let's just say we're out in the middle of the street, we're having an argument, and I just start firing off warning shots, and somebody inadvertently gets killed by one of the stray or bullets that I fired. Exactly. So I can say, well, I mean, I'm covered by the law. I was just firing a warning shot. And let's just say I shoot you, but I say it was a warning shot. I shot in the air, but maybe you jumped in front of the bullet and the evidence proves that. Who's to say that wasn't a warning shot?
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah.
Gray area comes in.
Too much. And a lot of people don't like Stand Your Ground because it just seems like an ambiguous bill. This expands that unclearness. So,
So the rally that's happening on Monday, they're against the warning shot bill. Is that what they're doing?
Well, I shouldn't say they're against the bill because I'll be frank with you, man. I'm not sure if they even know. The Dream Defenders do. I'm not sure if the people involved know about this bill. They are there specifically to talk about repealing Stand Your Ground, which is not going to happen.
No, it's not.
Absolutely not going to happen. And they are there to have a prayer vigil for Marissa Alexander, who's been granted a new trial, but could face 60 years in prison if she's convicted. They're there for Jordan Davis and for Trayvon Martin. So that's the reason they are there. The Dream Defenders are just saying, no, do not pass HB 89, but you have a lot of African-American legislators who are for this, who are co-sponsors of this bill, because if you have another Marissa Alexander who's in a supposedly deadly situation, and she fires a warning shot to, get away from her abusive husband.
She now gets off.
She gets off instead of going to prison for 20 years. But at the same time, you could have another Trayvon Martin or Jordan Davis where somebody says, I was just firing a warning shot. Right. He got in the way. Yes. I was trying to get away from a bad situation. I did force with force, but the bill says that you can do that. So what do you do then? Do you support this or do you not? I say you don't. My personal opinion is that you should fight for changing or repealing 10-20 to life. That's the problem in the Marissa Alexander case.
Right.
Not necessarily her firing the warning shot and Stand Your Ground. It's 10-20 to life. Right. Work on that one. Don't expand or talk about firing warning shots. I don't think you need to expand anything to help Marissa Alexander. Just change 10-20 to life.
Right. Which they can't change, so they're trying to back alley something that they might be able to do at the end of the day.
Yeah, I believe it's a Republican that submitted this. And then you have bipartisan support, where you have some local people.
They're trying to get their love too, Jason. They want to get some of the love. They got so much hate off Stand Your Ground. They're like, what can I do to get some love?
Right.
And so they're trying to get their love.
You know what?
I'm with you. Stand Your Ground is Stand Your Ground. It's not going anywhere. I think it does what it needs to do. Warning shot bill, unnecessary.
But you know what? The thing, Stand Your Ground. My thing is we're too reactionary. Something happens, and then that's when we mobilize. okay, pay attention to what's going on now.
Right.
So if this is something that you don't like, this is where we get in trouble. When Stand Your Ground was being debated back in 2005, because we didn't know.
We didn't know what was going on.
We didn't know, and now we're like, well, when did this bill? Well, it's in like 35 states now. It started in Florida, and it's expanded like an epidemic across the country. So now you have something like this, HB 89, that could potentially harm more minorities, more women, more African Americans, and I mean, we're back in the same situation, and then 2-3 years from now, when something bad could potentially happen, then that's when we'll say, well, this is a bad bill. This is a bad idea. It was a bad idea 3 years ago when it was passed.
Right.
So, I mean, this is what angers me, is when we get in positions like this, when we have an opportunity. That's what Trayvon Martin and Jordan Davis should have taught you. Pay attention before the tragedy happens.
Right.
Because we know for our culture, things like this happen all the time. Oscar Grant, Sean Bell, things like that happen all the time. So what are we going to do to fix it? Pay attention, get your knowledge up, see what's happening. The first day of session is a great way to do that. And I just don't think you have a right to complain. In 2 to 3 years, if something happens because of HB 89, where were you 2 to 3 years prior when we were talking about it? So I wanted to give you some co-sponsors of this bill. It's Bruce Anton. I don't see Randolph Bracey's name. I believe Linda Stewart is a co-sponsor. She
focuses on legalizing weed right now.
I don't see his name, so obviously he doesn't think this is a good idea. But I'm trying to say I don't see Senator Thompson's name either. So I think Senator Smith is on here. I don't see Bullard. So, I mean, Mike Cleland, if you remember that battle last year or a couple years ago with him and Chris Dorworth, he's for it, but he's in a conservative district. I don't see Castor Dental on here. So Bruce Anton, Linda Stewart, two local legislators who are co-sponsors of this bill and think that it's a good idea to expand it. So here's your opportunity. Here's your chance.
Here's a chance.
Tell them that you don't think it's a good idea, or if you do,
call
support
them
it. Exactly. But you at least need to let your voice be heard.
Let your voice be heard, and let your congressman know what.
Again, it's called HB 89, the threatened use of force, and it is currently sitting in the Criminal Justice Committee. I'm sorry, it's in the Judiciary Committee as of the 20th. I don't see when it's going to come up for a House floor debate, but it's in the Judiciary Committee. For the Criminal Justice Subcommittee, where any changes to Stand Your Ground would have to come out of, Matt Gaetz is the chairman of the subcommittee on criminal justice, and he said he does not want to change one dang comma of Stand Your Ground. So Bruce Anton has a self-defense bill that alters Stand Your Ground. What's my man, Senator Chris Smith? He has a bill that completely repeals it over on the other side. But that lets you know they are not repealing Stand Your Ground. Nah. It's not happening as long as Republicans are in power.
Right. And two,
so
I mean,
something different.
To me, I think I've done some research on some different cases involving it. And quite frankly, I don't even see what the big deal is. I mean, we're sensationalizing the two cases where the verdict didn't quite go the way we wanted.
That's it.
But I mean, if you take them two cases out of the scenario, I mean, it honestly has not necessarily been this whirlwind, shoot
Trayvon
a black
Martin,
man.
Stand Your Ground had nothing to do with Trayvon Martin. Number one, George Zimmerman, they did not even argue Stand Your Ground. So you have to go before a judge for a pretrial hearing to even state that you want to use that as a defense. Marco Mira said, no, we don't want to do that. So Stand Your Ground technically didn't have anything to do with the trial. It altered the jury instructions, but that's for every trial. And because of the way the self-defense bill is written, but Stand Your Ground technically had nothing to do with the case against George Zimmerman, because his attorney said we're not going down that road. We are going to go ahead and we're not going to try to fight for that defense, and they didn't. So you can say the jury instructions were altered because they were, but that's because of the way the law is written. But as far as him stating that I want to use Stand Your Ground as a defense, he didn't.
Happen.
Did not happen.
Right.
Same thing with Marissa Alexander. Marissa Alexander isn't a Stand Your Ground case. because the judge said, her attorney said, we want to use this as a defense, and the judge said, no, you don't have that right. So it wasn't a stand your ground case.
Hey, can you give me those House bill names again?
Sure. House Bill 89 is threatened use of force. That's the Marissa Alexander bill, the warning shot bill that I shouldn't say a lot of people, but some people are talking about because it's called threatened use of force. The gambling bill is actually a Senate committee bill. Okay. But I'll give you the numbers for those.
Okay.
And they think they're slick by using her name with the Marissa Alexander bill, attaching it to it, so it's going to get our attention.
I'm helping you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But when you look at it and really pay attention, they think they slick.
They do, because they are.
And they know we are reactionary.
They want to get some love.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Mr. McCray, they want some love too, Mr. McCray. Y'all been beating them over the head for 2 years.
Look,
now.
they're giving y'all a child support bill that now the brothers, you won't have your driver's license suspended if you fall behind on your child support. So they throwing you a bone.
Wow.
Now they're giving you some help with the threatened use of force bill. Fire that warning shot, we won't send you to prison. But it's expanding. Some people think it's an unnecessary expansion of standing ground. Some people think that it's actually going to cover people like Marissa Alexander in this situation, which maybe it would have. I don't know.
Obviously, if it passed, it certainly could have been an option, but at the end of the day, it's not necessary. It really is.
I don't think that expansion is necessary, no.
It's not necessary.
I don't.
We don't need a
Just
warning
some
shot
more
bill.
gray area.
Exactly. People are going to be shooting warning shots all over the place.
Subjective.
They're going to be shooting warning shots not in the air. They're going to be shooting it parallel. And be like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
that was a warning shot. Yes.
It was parallel, sir. It was right in front of him. Well, but it was a warning shot. I was aiming for his kneecap.
There's so much going on. They're talking about tax cuts again. Depending upon what type of budget the governor wants to have, he's probably going to try to throw more money into education. Common Core is going to be talked about. Dan Gates, who is the Senate president, has said that he's not necessarily a fan, but he's not going to stand in the way of what the State Board of Education wants to do, and they approve Common Core. So I just pay attention. That's the only thing I can say. Just pay attention. I'll do a shameless plug. But it's really and truly, my blog is if you read it, it simply gives you the information. There's nothing partisan about it. Maybe HB 89 is a little bit. But if you want just more information on these bills, I have a blog on the Orlando Sentinel's website. It's hypeorlando.com/Jason Henry Project, or you can just search it under politics. You can go to Central Florida Political Post. You can go to St. Peter's blog. There's so much information out there. You can go directly to myfloridahouse.gov. And I was at home with my daughter today because she was sick, and I had on my laptop, they have a free streaming service where you can watch what's going on in the House and Senate chambers. So you cannot say that you don't have access to watch what's happening or at least listen. There is even an app where you can follow along what's happening in the Florida House and the Florida Senate. So y'all ain't got no excuses.
None.
Quickly, we didn't get to talk about it, but I wanted to get you guys your opinion on the president's My Brother's Keeper initiative, but we don't have time to get into that.
Well, tell me about it.
I think it's dope. I think it's a good idea. We'll just see how it goes, but I think it's a great idea.
Good start.
Yeah. You got to start somewhere, so.
There it is.
There it is.
It's a start, Ms. McCray.
He inspires you, so.
He did. I told you. I talked about
Oh,
that
man,
last
I
week,
missed
Mr.
that
McCray.
last week.
The recording is up, is it not, Jeremy?
Yes, it is.
There you go,
Just
Ms. McCray.
play that part.
You
at
got
the
My Brother's
beginning
Keeper
of
and
every
then-
show. Please.
My Brother's Keeper and then Vladimir Putin threatening to go to war with Ukraine and America. So.
Hey, man, we thank Jason for coming by, man. We thank y'all for listening to the show tonight. We will see you next week. This is your host, J Real, signing off. This is WOKV 1680, your urban empowerment and inspiration station.
Follow us on Facebook, Real Family Talk. You can follow us on Twitter, Real Family Talk. The website, realfamilytalk.weebly.com.
WOKV, Winter Garden, Orlando.
When I think of his goodness, all I can say, I'm saying